This is, in my mind, the best swashbuckling movie of all times. And with it being February, the season of love, there's no better time to talk about The Princess Bride. So without further ado, this is a movie night review of The Princess Bride. So let's start out with the story. The story is pretty simple. There's this woman who falls in love with this farmer boy, only in time to have him go off on an adventure and get captured by pirates. Now she's in complete sadness because the only love she has just died because he was captured by pirates, and the local prince sees her and falls in love with her, and now he's like, you are going to be my bride. That's basically how the story starts. She gets captured by these three thugs. They kidnap her and plan to murder her to set off a whole big war. But she gets rescued by this mysterious man in black, who turns out, I guess the spoiler for those who somehow have not seen this movie, turns out to be the farmer boy, her lover Wesley, who actually was not killed by the pirates, but actually rose up in the ranks to become the captain of the pirates, the Dread Pirate Roberts. And then you have their love story as, beyond all odds, they fight through it and they manage to eventually have their happy ending. It's an amazing swashbuckling romance story, but in my mind, even ever since a little kid, I've loved this movie. My favorite part about it is probably the sword fighting. As I talked about in my video about Romeo and Juliet, there's a difference between real sword fighting and film sword fighting. Eventually in my educational videos, I will talk about this movie and how they do sword fighting in new movies. This is a perfect example about the difference between them and how sword fighting should be done in movies. The sword fighting in this movie is just so much fun. I could probably watch on a 10-hour loop the sword fighting scenes in this movie. The one with Wesley and Emmanuel Montoya. The one with Emmanuel Montoya and the Six-Fingered Man. All these different sword fights are just so much fun. And they bring the perfect balance of, if you take this as an example of how the actually sword fighting, how the sword fight in real life, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you take this as an example of how to sword fight in movies, you're going to have the best sword fights ever. For those who've been following my channel for a while, you would already know this. I'm not the biggest action person, but I freaking love the action in this movie. It's so much fun. Maybe it comes from that I'm a guy. I like action. I just don't like explosions. I don't like guns. I don't like those type of action. I like my sword fighting. I'm obsessed with medieval warfare type stuff. My favorite book series is Lord of the Rings. I have over 10 books that I plan to write, which are medieval fantasy action books. So I love medieval action. I don't like too much explosions and overuse on guns in movies. So that might actually be my thing with action. It's not about my lack of love for action, it's more my lack of love for modern action. Anyways, but the point is, the action in this movie is just so much fun. On that same note, the other big thing about this movie that gets a lot of people is the quotes. This is a very quotable movie. I haven't seen much of this nowadays, but when I was a kid, there was a bunch of shirts. I saw a bunch of people wearing shirts. Hello, my name is Emmanuel Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die. That was plastered everywhere. The quotes in this movie, I personally and my family uses a lot of these quotes. When I'm at my parents' house and I'm leaving or something like that, my dad always likes to say, have fun storming the castle. The lines in this movie are just so much fun. As a kid, this is one of the only movies that I was allowed to see that has a cuss word in it, and honestly, even my mom, who is someone who's really big on no cuss words in movies, she agrees that the cuss word in this movie really is important to the story. As a kid, I would always play with swords, and then I would, like, when I cornered one of my siblings, I would be like, I want my father back, you son of a... And then I would say, a lot of times I would say peach, or bleach wipe, or like different words to fill in, but it's just, that line is so good. And because of that, it has influenced my writing in my own books. I have chose to put some cuss words in my stories because when it works really well, it helps bring out the anger of those characters at those moments. It shows the emotion in these characters, and it can be very justified in moments. In that moment, it's a very justified cuss word, and it really brings out, if it's literally just I want my father back, and then he kills him, it doesn't bring out the same emotions as like, I want my father back, you son of a... Even if you're not someone who's into cussing in movies, you have to admit that that cuss word works so well. I could go on forever about every single quotable line in this movie, but I think you get the point. This movie has so much quotable lines in it. It's almost inconceivable Now moving on to the characters. So the characters in this movie are amazing. They are not like the most fantastic characters with the deepest like backstories and stuff like that, but the action is good. And all the characters are just fun. They're fun characters, very classic action characters, and everyone does a great job playing these characters. So the characters are mainly there to further the story along, and they do a great job with, being fun-loving characters. On that same note, the costumes in this movie, they're the classic, not accurate, but just fun. They're fun. It's a swashbuckling type story. You can have fun with this. You don't have to make it everything gritty and accurate. The last thing I'm going to mention is the music in this movie. The music is, as a kid, I would always, the song Storybook Love, I would always take that and then put that music to other strange like poems and different stuff like that for the fun of it. It was a big joke of mine and my sister to do that. So that song is very, very, very catchy. One thing I want to bring up before I end is this kind of leans into a video I'm eventually going to make, but this movie should never get a remake. But I put out a video one day talking about movies I believe should never ever get a remake, and this is on that list in my mind. If they ever did a remake, hey, I'm just putting it out there, I'm open to be in it, but I don't ever want to see a remake for this. This movie was really well done. As with another one that's going to appear on that list would be The Lord of the Rings, but that one, like the music, the characters, everything about it. Same with this movie. There's no way I can see it with different actors, with different music. All like remakes, you have to change stuff for it to be justified, and there's nothing they can change about The Princess Bride that make me feel like it could be justified for a remake. Those are my thoughts about The Princess Bride. Very quick. Eventually down the line, as I talked about in my video about Romeo and Juliet, I'm going to put out full reviews for these movies. This is my series of movie night reviews, very like down the earth, quick. These are the points I like about this movie, whether I think you guys should check it out. This movie, 100% check it out. It's probably the greatest swashbuckling movies of all times. It's so quotable, the characters are awesome. I just love it, and if you somehow haven't seen it yet, I would strongly recommend you guys check it out. If you guys have, please comment down below your guys' thoughts, anything you thought I should have added about this movie. Tell me if there's any other movies you really want me to check out. You guys want to see more content like this? Consider subscribing. This has been the Movie Night Reviewer. Peter Wary, signing off.